Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called The Rhythm Section. This is a 2020 film. It is rated R. It runs an hour and 49 minutes, and it's directed by Reed Morano. It stars Blake Lively, Jude Law, and Sterling K. Brown. The description: Blake Lively stars as Stephanie Patrick, a woman on a path of self destruction after her family is tragically killed in a plane crash. When Stephanie discovers that the crash was not an accident, she enters a dark, complex world to seek revenge on those responsible and find her own redemption. Based on the novel by Mark Burnell from director Reed Morano and the producers of the James Bond film series, the rhythm section also stars Jude Law and Sterling K. Brown. This is the rhythm section. I got my Kleenex here in case I sniff or cough or anything, and I apologize for my cold, but I did see this movie today in theater. Had about 10 to 15 people in my theater. It's later. It's been 3 days since the movie was out, but I figure it's not gonna be a big box office movie. But I did expect it to be entertaining and interesting, and it's the movie I was looking forward to seeing this weekend. So it had that going for it. I was excited for it. So I get in there and things seem to be going pretty well. And I can tell that I've seen this movie like a million times before, right? I hope you had that feeling if you've seen this also. It's like we've seen the story of revenge, we've seen the story of finding out that something happened and you're going to go after the people who were involved in the situation. We've heard about movies, we've watched movies about people having secret identities, and you have to figure out who they are somehow, or you have to have correspondence, you have to have informants. We've seen this all before. So once I started figuring out what the movie was really about, what the core material was about, I was like, oh man, we've seen this before. And then this boring movie has to take an hour of setup for the story. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can have an hour of setup in a movie that's 2 hours long. I don't get it. I was literally in my chair just dropping from boredom because of this long, long part of the movie. So I can only really judge you and or judge this movie and tell you about the second part of this movie because that is the only part of this movie that makes any sense. And I gotta tell you, after the hour middle part of the movie, this movie gets to be pretty entertaining. It has all the action that you would want. It has all the chase scenes that you'd want. It has a lot of hand to hand combat, even though she almost loses to a person on their deathbed almost, which is pretty pathetic. And she is kind of a weak character. It's exciting. It has it. It's included. There's explosions. There's car chases. There's bullets flying. There's romance. There's everything that you would want. If only this movie was only an hour, but it's not. It's 2 hours. So I don't know. I was just this was like I didn't really care for some of the camera angles that they had or some of the pan out scenes, but it's really cool place that they had. Like one time they had her dropped off on a bus and she was going somewhere and she had to walk like 10 miles down the road. It actually showed how long the road was. I'm like, who cares? You know, but there's things like that. There's things like the romance that's included. You know, I mean, like it's so irrelevant to the movie, but we always have them in these kind of action films. You know, for some reason, since everybody's at each other's throats, the thing to do is kiss and do other things. That's just it's the funniest logic, but it's what happens in every one of these movies. So, um, I don't know. I want to tell you that this is a good movie because it gets so much better and so much better and so much better all the way to the end. And the end is actually satisfactory. I just don't know why the first hour exists the way it does. It's so monotonous, and it just goes at a snail's pace, and you know what she's doing. You know she's setting up, to go after these people. But we've had many movies that have people going after people, and they don't need 8 months of training. They don't need a year's worth of training. They don't need 2 years of training, whatever it is. And, you know, we don't need you to explain why this weak person is going to become strong and figure out how to go after people themselves. A lot of movies don't even do that. They just say that this lady that's a housewife, or this guy that's a father, and he's just a nice guy. Look at Liam Neeson's characters. He just is a dad, and he goes all ruthless on people. Jackie Chan, The Rock. I mean, just we've had many movies like this. So I just don't think that this can suffer such a setback and have people talk good about it. I think it was. I think it included everything it needed to. I think it tied everything together that it needed to, but it doesn't explain how it finds out a couple things. It doesn't explain why it has a couple things in this film. Blake Lively is a bore. Her character is nothing. Her personality is nothing. She has no idea how to carry some things through, and she has no idea how to sell a fight. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. Just because stuff's in a movie doesn't mean that it's exciting or it sells or it's great. And I really don't want to hear that from anybody else. So it's not the worst movie I've seen by far, because it has some great things in it. The explosions and big things like that, big things like that help in the storyline and the revenge. Those things help. So I think I'm going to give the rhythm section a C. I think it's very middle of the road for its type of movie, or really any movie. Um, Jude Law is by far the best part of this, but he's barely in the thing. And the other things that are so kept secret from us, and then we find out, they barely even explore the explanation, so that they just tell us, and then we're like, oh, okay, I guess we know that thing now. So I just think it's a middle of the road movie. I think some people are going to enjoy it more than I will. I think a lot of people are going to think it's the worst movie of its kind, and worst movie probably at least this month. And so I just think a C is very fair, and that's what I'm going to give to the rhythm section. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. Enjoy your movies. Thanks.